Welcome to another video, Bakas. It's Anime Baka here once again, and we have another banger on our hands today as we give you the full story behind Dandadan's first season. Enough chatter. Let's oka-run through today's topic. Our story begins with Momo Ayase. She's the kind of high schooler who's popular in all the wrong ways. Now, Momo just had a really bad breakup with her scumbag of a boyfriend who, by the looks of it, should be on a government watch list for dating a girl in high school. But our girl's just a hopeless romantic deep down, so she gets all glum. As she puts it, Momo just wants to have a boyfriend who's like real-life actor Ken Takakura. And you know what? We can't blame her. Just look at the guy. Look at him. You're welcome, ladies. Don't forget to visit your local OBGYN after watching this video. Anyway, Momo steps into another class during their break when she sees a bowl cut wearing nerd who's reading a magazine getting picked on by the local meatheads of their school. So she defends the boy's honor. Now Momo has classic tsundere tendencies, so she ends up pretty much calling bowl cut a loser after she sees that he's reading a magazine about UFOs. Later that day, Momo and Lil Nerd run into each other in the hallway, where they get into it about aliens and ghosts. You see, the boy believes in UFOs, we mean UAPs, and doesn't think ghosts and yokai exist. On the other hand, Momo believes the opposite. So Momo's like, "Alright, nerd, let's make a wager. Whoever wins gets to be the other's bottom the rest of the school year." And the boy goes, "Hi, bet." They dare each other to visit a couple of places that night. Momo goes to the abandoned hospital that's rumored to be an alien hotspot. Meanwhile, the boy has to go to their town's creepy local tunnel that Momo says is haunted. We immediately see some chemistry between these two when they talk over the phone while doing their respective dares, in which Momo reveals that she grew up with her grandma and that she comes from a family of spiritual mediums. Momo got bullied because of this back when she was a little girl, which ultimately made her swear off believing in hoodoo. Momo then asks the boy why he's such a stan for aliens. But she doesn't get an answer because Bowl Cut just came across an honest-to-goodness yokai. And this yokai is an absolute gilf. Her name's Turbo Granny, and she's one spicy senior citizen. Granny's all like,
"I'ma let you suck my right titty if you let me eat your Vienna sausage, kid."
Unfortunately, the boy is too young to appreciate the allure of hot grannies, so he refuses and hoofs it the fuck out of there. Momo, on the other hand, doesn't fare better as she gets kidnapped by a group of aliens called the Serpoians at the hospital. And if you thought Turbo Granny was bad news, let's just say these extraterrestrials would absolutely get the chair if cops caught on to what they've been up to. The Serpoians manage to subdue Momo and prepare to begin heinous crimes on her. But our girl is rescued when Turbo Granny possesses Bowl Cut and uses him as a meat puppet before popping out of Momo's phone. Like, literally. Bowl Cut, who now has Turbo Granny's powers, gets into a scuffle against the Serpoians, but takes an L and gets trapped too. Fortunately, Momo comes up clutch when she awakens her latent psychokinetic powers. The two high schoolers beat the out of the aliens and get the hell out of there, with Momo also discovering that she can keep Turbo Granny in check with her newfound abilities. On their way home, the boy reveals that his actual name is Ken Takakura. Ken Takakura. Our girl can't believe this soft-ass supernatural sugar mommy having nerd shares the same name as her dreamboat, so she just starts calling him oka-run. They then visit Momo's house to chill and wait for her grandma so she could deal with oka-run's granny problem. But more crap hits the fan when a giant creature attacks our two heroes. This supersized sumo wrestling looking unit turns out to be the Flatwoods Monster. And God bless you if you didn't know what a Flatwoods Monster is before now, because that just means you like to spend your time doing more productive things. Anyway, Miss Momo manages to yeet the Flatwoods Monster, but the exertion from defeating the creature and simultaneously preventing Turbo Granny from gobbling up oka-run's sweet meats makes our girl pass out. So, Turbo Granny takes over oka-run's body and prepares to show us her inner bisexual by going after a downed Momo. It's here we meet Seiko, Momo's own grandma. She's less a gilf than she is a gilst. A grandma I'd like to make sweet love to. Aside from being a Shinto princess, Seiko moonlights as a TV psychic on the town's public broadcast channel. She gets home after taping to see that Turbo Granny's about to give Momo the bad touch, so goes full Shohei Ohtani on the yokai. Later, Momo wakes up to find that oka-run is nowhere to be found. Seiko reveals that she's keeping the boy inside their family shrine to prevent Turbo Granny from sliding into his pants again. From there, Seiko gives Momo the rundown on Turbo Granny, where she basically explains that the hag has been bad news bears. On top of that, this piping hot priestess tells the kid that Turbo Granny is currently signed with another yokai living in the tunnel.
So ain't no way this white-haired hottie's getting near that problem.
But Momo shows us she's an MVP caliber talent when she insists on helping oka-run get rid of Turbo Granny. Seiko caves and helps them. You see, there's this rule in Dandadan where a yokai or spirit medium's powers are tied to their location. You know, home court advantage and all that. So Seiko tells the two kids that the only way they could stop Turbo Granny is by getting her away from her home court. She even offers to train the kids before their big bout. The next day, Momo and oka-run begin preparing for the showdown.
But there ain't no goddamn montage here.
As Turbo Granny emerges and is all like,
Tonight in the tunnel, live on pay-per-view, only $49.99. Come get these hands, tax-free.
Turbo Granny basically holds Seiko and oka-run hostage, so Momo is forced to agree to the hag's terms. Afterwards, Seiko has no choice but to let the kids go on their own, because again,
Ain't no way she gonna let a yokai touch those juicy double D's.
but she's willing to set a trap for their enemies that will spring once the kids lure the hag to the edge of town. Soon enough, oka-run and Momo get down to the tunnel and hoodwink Turbo Granny into giving up home court advantage. But Turbo Granny has the mind of a champ. That is to say, she knows how to play dirty. Instead of some boring-ass race, Granny calls on her homeboy, the other yokai living in the tunnel, a giant crab. Still, the kids manage to outsmart their yokai enemies by having oka-run use Turbo Granny's power against her. They even boil the giant crab inside a cento along the way, temporarily subduing the delicious crustacean. However, things go south when we find out Granny's team-up is 100 deep as she controls the minds of the town's citizens and sixth among oka-run and Momo. Turbo Granny manages to separate herself from oka-run before cornering the two kids. But again, Momo dupes the hag into another race, and this time our girl isn't gonna play nice anymore, as she hitches a ride on the local train and drags Turbo Granny into Seiko's trap. This wrecks the giant crab and successfully frees oka-run from Turbo Granny's hold.
On a more serious note,
We learned that the giant crab is made up of the spirits of innocent girls who were murdered inside the tunnel. And the reason Turbo Granny's collaborating with it was because she's actually a softie who took it upon herself to appease these poor souls. Momo and oka-run's chemistry transforms into budding sexual tension after the whole mess with Turbo Granny. They even smooch by accident, but these crazy kids know what's up.
some good old-fashioned premarital nookie, that's what.
The two get into a bit of a quarrel at school the next day, after Momo's classmates tease them with their first kiss. But there are more important problems right now, because oka-run has discovered that Turbo Granny might not have taken his body, but she might as well have. That's because the hag stole something very important to a man in the throes of puberty: his nuts.
Fuck school, fuck knowledge.
A boy needs his baby batter maker to have some fun after school.
Anyway,
Momo and oka-run make up by the end of the school day when she spots the local it girl Aira bad-mouthing our boy behind his back. And just to show you that Momo is a ride-or-die kind of woman,
she dumps a basin on her dumbass head.
afterwards the two head back to the ISA household, where oka-run tells both Momo and Seiko that Turbo Granny basically fixed him. In other words, he got back his kielbasa,
But not as Brussels sprouts.
Our heroes discover that Turbo Granny managed to escape getting completely wiped from the face of existence by transferring her soul inside a Maneki Neko doll, aka a beckoning cat figurine. On the other hand, Momo, Seiko, and oka-run are surprised to discover that he can still use Turbo Granny's super speed.
Granny got split is what we're saying.
So our heroes soon corner Turbo Granny to demand oka-run's garbanzos back.
I need to see you a boss.
Okay. The problem is,
Granny don't know where she stashed them.
on the bright side, the hag does tell our main characters that she can sniff those nuts like a truffle pig, and not long after, they start searching for oka-run's missing family jewels. Unknown to them, Aira has one of oka-run's stones, which she got during that whole fight with Turbo Granny at the outskirts of town. Grabbing one of oka-run's pebbles has awakened Aira's spiritual abilities, which then allows her to sense that Momo has powers. And well, Aira is best described by this old nugget of wisdom.
This bitch be crazy.
That's because this This mean girl has a messiah complex and has now gotten it into her head that she should exorcise Momo because Momo is the devil or something. Even Turbo Granny senses that this bitch be crazy. So much so that she tells oka-run to go after Momo after Ira lures her into an abandoned warehouse. At the warehouse, Ira commits a couple of things that would definitely send her to juvie if she wasn't so cute and popular. But the real threat appears when another yokai emerges. This one's name is Acrobatic Silky. It points to Ira and goes all,
Look at me! Look at me! I'm your mama now!
A fight ensues, and it's up to Momo to save everyone's bacon yet again. Ira ends up getting her dumbass flatlined in the process. But Acrobatic Silky wasn't effing around when she said she's Ira's mommy now, as the yokai sacrifices her soul to revive the idiot. On top of that, we get one of the most tragic backstories in mainstream anime, when Ira learns about Acrobatic Silky's origins. Ira also thinks that oka-run was responsible for saving her, so she gets thirsty for our guy. On top of that, Momo has also realized that she really has the hots for our boy, proving that game is game,
regardless if you're missing a nut or two.
Momo and oka-run get into a bit of drama thanks to Ira's attempt at making babies with our guy, even though oka-run himself only has eyes for Momo. But their horny teenage problems fall by the wayside when the Serpoians send a couple of hired help to go after our heroes after trapping them in an alternate dimension called
Empty space.
One of them is Nessie. That's right, Loch Ness Nessie. Then there's Mr. Mantis Shrimp, an absolute daddy who has the punching power of Manny Pacquiao
Before he was washed.
Long story short, Ira gets in on the action and the three kids defeat their attackers, although at the cost of their clothes. They emerge in the real world right in the middle of their school without their clothes on.
And everyone thinks they just attended one of Jennifer Aniston's pizza parties.
The three kids catch up with the wounded Mr. Mantis Shrimp. They bring back the poor guy to the ISA residence, where Mr. Mantis Shrimp tells them how he ended up working for the Serpoians.
And man, Mr. Mantis Shrimp has had it rough.
For one, his planet was wrecked by an as-yet identified threat, transforming it into an absolute crapshoot. Then his wife had this congenital illness that ultimately ended her life. And if that's not enough, their kid,
Chiquitita,
inherited this illness, which requires him to get regular blood transfusions. This forced Mr. Mantis Shrimp to take on any job that would pay. That's when he eventually came across the Serpoians, who then ended up screwing him over without his pay. Fortunately, our heroes find out that the blood flowing through
Chiquitita
and Mr. Mantis Shrimp's veins are made up of milk. So Seiko takes pity on the poor guy and gives Mr. Mantis Shrimp a cow.
You a real one. You suspiciously hot anime grandma.
More teenage drama ensues when the ISA residence receives a guest soon after. This newcomer is Jin Injoji, aka Gigi. He's a hunky boy who plays football. And unlike your usual Ikiman, this dude is down to clown. Like for real.
He's just a wig and white face paint away from being hired at children's parties.
Oh, and Gigi also happens to be Momo's childhood crush.
So, yeah.
Of course this makes oka-run get all jelly. Now Seiko tells the kids that Gigi is going to live at the ISA household for the time being, since his parents are currently confined at a hospital. Soon enough, Gigi tells Momo that he thinks his old folks got hoodooed. The gang then goes on a short side quest to deal with a thirsty, sentient, anatomical model named Taro, and helps it reunite with this girl, a female anatomical model named Hana. They also mistake one of Taro's plums to be oka-run's, but it ultimately turns out to just be a Christmas tree ornament. All the while, Gigi gets the heebie-jeebies, which further convinces him there's some bad juju haunting his parents. Seiko knows what's up, so she sends Momo, oka-run, and Gigi to travel to our new guy's house to get to the bottom of things. Along the way, oka-run gets extra jelly when he notices Momo cozying up to Gigi, so he tries to impress his crush and goes,
I may have half a nut, but my whole heart belongs to you, Momo.
Gigi hears this and is like,
Hey, yo, you only got half a nut?
And the two become fast friends.
Because nothing turns a couple of dudes into bros better than the shared trauma of losing a testicle.
In any case, they eventually reach the area where Gigi and his family live. And since Dandadan is a shonen title at its core, y'all know there's bound to be an onsen episode sooner than later.
Well, that happens right now.
Because Gigi's town is an onsen town. The trio first goes to the Injoji residence, and Momo decides to play hooky so she can visit one of the local onsen, leaving the two dudes alone. Oka-run and Gigi hang out, and Gigi finds out his new best bud is into Momo. Gigi proves that he's not your typical vanilla-ass anime hunk, when he ultimately abides by the age-old bros before Momos mantra. But then, y'all know high school drama and Dandadan is just a setup for some freaky, weird stuff to happen. Momo's just a soaking away her troubles when a gang of dirty old men suddenly arrive and start getting creepy with her. Back at Gigi's house, the two boys discover a secret room, and it looks like it was built by a Japanese version of H.H. Holmes.
It looks like a murder room, is what we're saying.
And that, my fellow Bakas, is the entire story of Dandadan's first season. We hope you loved watching this video. Got any theories, questions,
Or solutions to dealing with losing your balls? Sound off in the comment section below.
and let's talk about it. And please don't forget to help us make more videos for you by giving us a like, a share, and subscribing to our channel with your notifications turned on. If you liked watching this one, we're sure you'll love the next one. We'll catch you soon.
Don't let these guys near your marbles.